excellent games from indie developers and games being released across so many systems that like I don't know anymore. It's, you know, like my information has just dissipated because it's too much to keep up with. And so I have to ask a lot of people for references because it's simply too much.
Yeah, I totally agree. There's a lot coming out all the time.
Yep.
So yeah.
Sorry, we're just looking at something.
Yes.
I'm just making sure all the we don't have any technical issues.
Yeah.
No,
Really
like
hoping
a pretty prevalent issue tonight. I don't understand. Man, you gotta love tech. I just don't.
Yep.
So I just want to check and make sure that that's okay before we
Yeah, I mean, it looks like we're live. I see people in here. I don't know what happened there apparently it looks like a second it cut off, but still said it was streaming. So I don't know. I just did a quick refresh and I think we're good now.
Okay, good.
So I apologize. Again, I don't know what's causing that issue either.
It might have did like a split or something, and just a little bit of that last conversation might have cut out. But that's okay.
Okay.
You gotta love technology, so
I know.
Hopefully we'll have everyone pop back over again. I'll just try and get that shared real quick.
Sure.
Yeah, so with that said, I think that we've got a good bit. Looks like it did cut off here. I'm just gonna ask you, what are your first gaming memories?
Yes.
So, gosh, this is exciting because I got one of these machines recently, and it is a Versus Super Mario Brothers. Now, when I was a kid, my parents used to go to a bowling alley and they would take me with them. And like, I'm going to say I'm good at video games. I'm not like great, I'm not competitive at this point. Maybe at one point I was playing enough Smash Brothers Melee to like hold my own decently well, not like on a national level, but But this is something that sort of inspired me to pursue video games as an interest. So they'd take me to this bowling alley and they had a Versus Super Mario Brothers there. And I'd always, put my card on the machine so I could play, and then the next person would play, and then someone would go after me. And it was always just like, a group of us playing games. And at one point, I remember popping in my quarter so I could play, and then somebody else was about to put in a quarter because you could play, Mario and Luigi. But I think you would only play as Luigi if Mario died and it wasn't like a level to level. Swap off.
I think so.
And so I remember playing and putting in my quarter, and I started it up, and some other kid was about to put his quarter in, and I heard another kid say, "Don't put a quarter in, you won't get a chance to play." And I remember hearing that, and it was just sort of like, oh, like, am I good at video games? And it really meant a lot to me. And that was one of the first times I remember feeling like, oh gosh, I really want to do this like all the time. And I didn't get an NES until Mario 2 had come out.
Okay.
But I'd always go to friends' houses and we would play Zelda and we'd read Nintendo Powers, and going to somebody's house and playing Castlevania or Metroid, or Contra, or whatever it was, Russian Attack, Cobra Command, and just playing at friends' houses all the time was always such a special thing to me, that I feel like early on, my first experience I really remember was probably playing at the bowling alley and then with friends consistently.
Okay.
Primarily NES. Yeah.
Love
yeah, everyone has a bowling alley story, I feel like.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw for the first time when we went to 16-bit a dual Castlevania Super Mario Bros. Versus cabinet.
Very cool.
I'm like, there's just so many like variants of like these different cabinets that, like, I feel like I see and learn about all the time.
Oh, totally. Yeah. The more I'm in this industry, the more I see and the more I realize I haven't seen half of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy to discover.
Yeah, definitely. So, with that said, with the talking about your gaming memories, kind of. So we talked about Zelda. Obviously, you're playing Tears of the
Mhm.
Kingdom, but in general, other than like the action RPG or the action adventure, is there
Mhm.
anything else that you like really enjoy playing? Is there like you really get into the RPGs and just don't have the time?
So RPGs I haven't been into in a really long time unless they're more action based at this point. I just feel turn based is better for games that I'm nostalgic with,
Sure.
and Persona 5 is one of the recent exceptions, as well as Dragon Quest 11. But 11 also did so much to like streamline the experience that I think I really
Yes.
enjoyed it for that. Um, but gosh, like it's easy for me just to pick up Mario 3 and play through the whole game. It's or
Oh,
Mega
yeah.
Man 9 or Mega Man X or like there's a bunch of like shorter games that I really like still playing through just sort of quickly. Something I could beat in a session or two.
Yeah.
I still play Smash Brothers with friends, still play some Mario Kart with friends or at the shop. But gosh, I'll pop on F-Zero GX and still play several races, just pump up the
That's
music
awesome.
and get really amped. So, yeah, aside from Zelda, oh, you know what? I have actually before Tears of the Kingdom came out, I put a lot of time into Final Fantasy Theater Rhythm when that hit the
Yes.
Switch. Like
Yeah.
70, 80 hours is probably where I ended at by the time I was moving on to other things, but I love those games too. I played a lot of that in the 3DS.
Oh yeah. Did you play Curtain Call?
That's probably my most played 3DS game.
That's awesome.
Yeah, countless hours. Yeah,
I
loved it.
remember pre-ordering that first one, and I got this like super cool stylus. I wish I still had it. It was like this really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was like a really neat stylus I got with it, and I was like super excited because it felt like just being able to hear those tunes and still play a game like at the same time, like
Absolutely.
having an action there. I was like, yeah, absolutely. This is great.
Yeah. Oh, it's dangerous because I'm a sucker for collectibles, and the Final Fantasy, I think it was like a pen where you could put like a sticker on it, so like you could
Yeah.
have your favorite character. I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, that kind of stuff. That's actually the way they get me. That's how they used to get me. Is if they had
yeah.
pre-order bonus that was
Yeah.
alluring, I would always put
And
down money on
occasionally
something
still
I
get
was.
me.
Yeah, exactly. If there's
Occasionally
something
they
good
still
enough.
do. Yeah, we don't get them as much, but we still. I mean, there's a lot of that digital stuff.
Yeah, occasionally.
Occasionally, but yeah.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, if it's a digital thing, like maybe I suppose I might do it, but like, yeah, when it was a oh gosh, I have a whole bunch of crap around here that I actually was going to show you guys. When I was working at GameStop, in addition to getting like pre-order stuff all the time, and it was lanyards and keychains and pocket
cool
watches.
promo stuff.
Promo stuff, exactly.
Love it.
The Nintendo rep was one of my friends, and she would bring me so much junk. And actually, I was going to show you guys. I have like a GameCube calculator that was like an official item, or this steel GameCube like notepad book that is F-Zero GX related, and I have a bunch of notes and junk written in there. A GameCube.
My friend just posted that calculator the other day. I did a little short on it.
Oh, right on.
So cool.
Yeah. And I used to love just collecting that kind of crap. But I'm always such a sucker for just pre-order. I have a Wind Waker bobblehead here from Wind Waker.
Yeah.
It came out when I was working at EB, and that was the most dangerous thing is being suckered into buying games just to get the goodies.
Yeah.
But
yeah, they used to get me all the time with that.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Yeah.
Good old days. Physical items.
Physical item. Yeah, exactly. And I'm just such a sucker for collectible crap nonsense, like novelty junk, especially things that there was a stylus that came out with Ninja Gaiden Dragon Sword on the DS, and it's a little katana. You unscrew the sheath and boom.
Oh yeah.
I have a Phoenix Wright stylus that's like the pointing finger.
I don't think I've seen that one. That's pretty
cool.
Yeah,
I mean, it's around somewhere. I'm trying to actually clean up all the crap from my house because there's still so much in my garage I'm unloading into this house.
That's awesome.
It's not crap. It's valuable collectible.
Valuable collectible crap.
It's treasure. It's treasure.
It's fun because there's like this fine line between collecting and hoarding, and I have no idea where I stand. But I'm okay.
Yeah, I don't even know.
I'm okay with being a hoarder too.
I think if things are in like bins and there's like animals in your house that you do not welcome, and other things in your house,
Oh,
and
she's talking about like the TV show.
Oh, like mountains of
hoarding.
newspaper you're trying
I'm
to walk
hoarding.
around.
So you're fine.
That might be hoarding. Okay.
This is the
I got a
level
few
where
animals
I'm
in my
at.
house.
So
and they-
I sent her pictures because I'm crazy about like preservation and like anything video game related being disposed of whatsoever. So
Sure.
I have this Action Max box, right? And this
Mhm.
thing
Did you throw
is-
that away?
I still have it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. So this
I keep
thing
all that
is
stuff.
destroyed. I mean, like literally, the pieces are falling off when you pick it up. Like it's just
Yeah.
crumbling. Like taped to hell from whoever had it before. But also, it's just like falling apart. Like literally, when I went to go try to fold it to just like flatten it as best as I could, like another giant piece ripped off of it.
Mhm.
It's just like so bad. But like also at the same time, it's like it's an Action Max box. Like I can't throw it away. And I don't know what
You
to
can't
do.
talk. Well, if it's branded with something, you don't want to get rid of it.
Yeah, he
it's-
said he was gonna throw it away. I
Because
said no.
Because
I said no.
It's making me feel like I have a problem because I don't want to throw it away. Like it's
No,
still
I'm-
here, so I didn't throw it away. Like
Throw it
I've
away into my collection.
there's
I've got a
nothing to
Happy
collect
Meal
on
box.
this. Nothing.
Yeah. I have a Happy Meal box in my garage that's in shambles from like the early 2000s when some Mario stuff came out. Or maybe it's from Burger King, I can't remember, but it's a box of like, Mario collectible junk. And it's torn, and it's asunder, it is ruined.
Yeah.
But hey, it's in my garage because it says Nintendo on it. So I can't possibly get rid of it because that would be silly.
Yeah, I feel like
Exactly.
I feel like if it was this way, so I don't know, because it's an Action Max box. I that's why it's still there. Honestly, like if it were,
Yeah.
I don't know, because there's like not that many boxes of that out there.
Sure.
I don't know what I could do with it. Maybe something could be used later on at museum
Mhm.
or like something can be preserved from it or like
hmm
I don't know. Who knows? Maybe not. Maybe it'll just be there and get thrown away when I pass away or something if it survives that. But
Hey,
it's still here, so I got a problem.
No problem.
Yeah.
No problems
No
here. Yeah, so
We
I think
have,
it's go ahead.
We just have What is Gaming Podcast popped in, said, "Hi John, big fan. I come to your store at least once a month."
Oh, hey, thank you. That means a lot.
Nice.
I appreciate that.
So I didn't hear you say, so that everybody knows when they view this, where is your store located?
So located in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yes.
We are right by a Domino's Pizza. I'll tell you that much. You can look us up, of course. But yeah, Albuquerque, New Mexico. We got Breaking Bad. We've got In Plain Sight. I'm trying to think of all the TV shows or movies that have been filmed here.
That's awesome.
But yeah, good little spot. And we actually have a really good collectible community out here in Albuquerque. Not as much Sega stuff, but we see like it's a big Nintendo city. We see Nintendo stuff probably cycle through the most. But there are collectors for Sega, TurboGrafx, Neo Geo. There's a big pinball scene out here, so
Nice.
it's cool to see. Just so much stuff.
Does
And hot air balloon.
And hot air balloons. That's a big one. That's actually a
Yeah,
really big
that's
attraction.
why I want to go there.
Is
Yep,
it really?
every October. Yeah,
There's
it's
like a
weird.
whole
It's actually
thing.
it's an international thing too. Like we get people from literally all over the world in October to come check out the balloon fiesta. A lot of great food and cool like shapes. But like growing up with it, I don't think I appreciated it as much.
Mhm.
And maybe like 10 years ago, I was on a flight somewhere and I saw a magazine and it did like an article about it and had like a picture of it, just a really beautiful panoramic shot. And I just thought, man, you know what? Like that's really cool. It is really neat that we are known for something that is internationally recognized. So
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that on my list of something I want to do. I would love to take a hot air balloon ride. I know I'll be
Yeah.
terrified because listen, I haven't even. Next month, I think, is probably going to be my first time on a plane. I've never been
gotcha.
on a plane, but a hot air balloon, it sounds like a cool thing. I'd
Yeah.
like to try that sometime. I can see why
Absolutely.
people would get into that. We do got a few people commenting here. We got, I still don't know how to say the name. Sysexis says, "I'm not hoarding if you have. It's not hoarding if you have enough shelves."
Oh yeah, that's my buddy Pasquale. Yeah.
We got Jorge saying, LOL. He also said, "I'm the Sega boy." Pizza Pat says, "Hey, buddies."
Yes.
And Millennial Collector Ohio says, "Love me some Sega." So
Excellent.
So we got some new people coming in, so that's really exciting.
Awesome. Yeah,
Cool.
glad to hear that.
Yeah, and then Bowman Games also said, "What's up, guys?" Hey, Mr. Bowman, how's it going? So yeah, I think it's time to dive into some news.
Sure.
Yeah.
Good start that. A pretty exciting one. Sonic Team's executive producer states he's interested in making another game featuring Sonic's red and black rival, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yes.
I think that'd be
So is he
awesome.
gonna be 3D and have a gun again?
I hope not.
I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily a standalone game or just adding the character in. They kind of like left it ambiguous.
Okay.
So we'll have to see, but that would be cool, to bring back some of the older stuff, whether it did well or not,
Right, yeah. And maybe with a little bit of experience behind them, they can make something that's a little more polished.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I would love to. I'm a big Sonic fan, so Shadow's one of my favorite characters from the series. So I think that'd be awesome. That execution with the GameCube game was terrible. I don't even know what they were trying to do. It was just like a glitchy mess. Like I think
they were trying something.
I feel like if there weren't so many issues with the game running, it might have been like a mediocre game. But there were just so many issues. I remember I got to a point in the game and got stuck, like trapped to a wall. And every time I would reload the game, it would just go right to that point. So I had to restart the game. I'm like, okay.
That's done. Yeah, that's a bummer.
I'm not doing that. Yeah. Crazy. I think we've also got Nintendo will be adding, oh yes, exciting one. We'll be adding the classic GBA title Fire Emblem to the Game Boy Advance catalog for Nintendo Switch Online Expansion Pack subscribers. We also don't have on here that they are adding, I forget which game it is, one of the games to the Japanese eShop, which does not have a translation. Don't have that.
That's kind of cool.
What game that is, but yeah, so that's pretty awesome because I love the Fire Emblem game on GBA. I love that remake. I think it's really good.
Yeah,
really good.
That's the only one I've really sat down and played is when it came out. Again, I was working at GameStop at the time, so I was buying everything Nintendo related, and I think I got about halfway through the game, and I had this beautiful green-haired vixen, and she was a Pegasus Knight, and I was in love with her, and she was my favorite character. And as I was playing through a level, she flew by a forest, and an archer popped out, and just boom, she's done. That's where I stopped. That was the end of the game for me. That's where my story closed.
What could have been?
What could have been, exactly.
Your life could have been completely different, man.
Exactly. Yep. Successful CEO of like an altruistic company that heals the world, and instead, here I am in a room full of video games with 2 cats waiting for me.
Living the life.
What's wrong with that?
Because I mean, literally, what Game Rammer does.
That's like my life.
Video games and 2 cats.
Hey, I love it. Yeah.
What could be wrong with that? What more do you need?
Yeah,
and you know what? Actually,
you're so ungrateful.
I love it. No, this is my dream. I'm totally into it. I did forget to mention, and this is something that we do with our store at Gamers Anonymous, is we actually work with our local humane shelter. And we have a program called CAT, an acronym for Cats Around Town.
Oh, nice.
So what they do is they actually bring cats to our store one at a time, and the cats will hang out, get socialized, be around people, and ideally meet somebody who adopts them. And then we go through the process. They find a home, and we get another cat.
That's awesome.
And we are nearing 200 cat adoptions at this point.
Wow.
So found a lot of home for a lot of cats. Yep.
That's really
awesome. That's like a really cool. That's where you should start.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you do for the community? Well,
at this point,
community. I mean, that's where.
There's a big cat community out there too, man. Let me tell you. It's
totally. And, I mean, and cats and video gamers are very tied in, so it's it works out really well. Cats on the internet,
Cat videos, man.
Right. Exactly.
That's a missed opportunity right there.
Are you guys into true crime at all?
I like it. I don't really seek it out, but I enjoy it.
Have you guys seen that? I think it's called "Don't F with Cats" or something.
Oh, I actually somebody recommended it. I've heard of it, but I haven't watched it.
You gotta watch it.
I
was
gotta
afraid
look
it was
that
gonna
up.
make me angry.
You have to watch it. Yeah, it's
Okay.
yeah, it's one of the better ones I've ever seen. But it's like it's different because there's like people online that ended up like tracking this guy down. That all started with like a cat video. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
spoil stuff, but yeah, it's
Oh,
like
I think I know what you're talking.
yeah,
Okay.
it's like it's crazy, like a crazy story. So like I would definitely recommend adding that. So I like there isn't many true crime documentaries. I don't think any other than this I've watched more than once. Because like if you watch it, like you know everything, right? It's not a movie. But I've watched it like 3 times and it's really good. So
Okay.
going on a
All
little
right. I'll check
tangent
it out at
here.
your recommendation.
Yeah, definitely watch it. But yeah, man, that's awesome that you do that. That's crazy. You know, making an impact on the community in like a whole other way. That's awesome. I love
That's
that.
very
Yeah.
cool. To like collide it all together too.
It works
There's
very
like
well.
cat gamers, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They probably
Absolutely.
play games too.
And on top of that,
Yeah.
I actually do have a part-time gig working at a local cat cafe called Catopia.
Whoa, no way.
Yep.
This is a whole
Yeah,
new world.
How does
This
that
is
work? Explain this to. I've heard about these in Japan, but I don't know too much about like that.
Yeah.
Here.
So this is cool too because it's like a same kind of concept, but like they focus on cats. And you go in and you hang out, and it's all like funded through like the local shelters
Okay.
will basically funnel cats into the cafe, and we have official paperwork, and we do set up interviews and applications to make sure that people are going to be a good fit for the cats. But you come in and you hang out. You can buy drinks, you can buy food, you can just get on
Right.
your laptop and like do some work. And there's just like 20 cats running around, and they'll often hang out with you in your lap or by your computer, or they'll just be playing off to the side and you can go play with them. And there's kittens and older ones, and it's just like, it is good for the soul, let me tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
I
also
just-
dangerous.
I think of all those. What is it, like a meme or a video going around, and it's like pretty much it's just like some guy took his wife or something to travel around to like see the world, and there's like this whole masterpiece in front, and then it's like he pans over and here's my wife, and she's like petting a cat in the parking lot or something.
Yeah, makes sense. I get it.
Like this whole like trip, that you spend like thousands of dollars on, you have like this worldly
Yeah.
view right there that everyone would dream of, and nope, she just pet the
Yeah.
cat.
Hey, cool, the Colosseum in Rome. Yeah, that's fine. But did you see this animal? Yeah. I get it.
I love cats. So my cat of 16 years passed away. This what has it been? 6 months, I think.
Yeah, it's hard.
This month. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's man, I'm like at this weird point. It's so hard for me to even think about like getting another animal because I also had my dog of 12 years pass away as well. So it's
Jeez.
like
That's
yeah,
hard.
just back to back. What my cat passed away, and next month my dog passed away. So it's like
Yeah, I'm
it's this
sorry.
weird thing that like cats. I don't know. It's like a weird feeling of getting another animal. It's like it sucks, man. Like losing a family member sucks.
Yeah.
Completely.
Not to get
100% is.
sobby, but yeah,
No, yeah.
it's hard for sure. But I love animals too. I love cats
Mhm.
also. The animal that will eat your body if you pass away in the house. and
Yeah,
they have no
exactly.
food. So-
Yeah, I hope I pass away in a room where they
too.
can access me.
Dogs too.
Do dogs do that too? I thought it was just cats. I know cats
Yes.
are like, okay, dogs do that too.
We won't get too graphic, but that is surely a sight to see.
Man,
Yeah,
isn't
dogs
that-
probably take longer to get to that point. I think
I feel
cats
like
are
they
probably pretty quick to eat you.
Exactly. Cats are like
Mhm.
you don't know what's going on with them all the time. You know what I mean? Like they're
Yeah.
I have a feeling when I see a cat, they're always thinking about something. They're like, they're a little shady. Cats are a
Yeah.
little shady. I love them, but dogs are like, hey, what are you doing? What's going on? Hey,
Yeah.
hey, I want to go
They
outside.
want to know. They want to be part of it.
And cats are
Yep.
like, I don't know.
It depends.
Okay.
Because I have a cat that's like a dog. It plays fetch. It leaps up in the air to get the item. It brings it back to you. It like drops it in your hand. It kind of like looks at you like, "Are we gonna play fetch?"
Really?
Never seen, and it chases its tail. I've never seen a cat act like a dog.
That's pretty cute.
That's
Before.
pretty cute. I feel like I gotta clip this. Cats.
Yeah.
It might do well.
I mean, it's like part feral. We like saved it because the other family members were eaten by a fox.
Oh boy.
So this was like the only survivor, and it's wild.
Is this the one you said like is hard to like pet or touch and stuff?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, feral.
Always hungry. Always wants food.
Yeah,
I get that.
There's like I think it's
But like thin.
10 or 11 cats that hang out exclusively around my house, and you can't touch. I've tried and tried and tried and tried. You cannot touch a single one of them. And they just keep breeding. Somebody here just keeps letting cats breed and breed and breed, and they're just like, I mean, they are like.
Yeah, you gotta get them fixed.
Yeah, and
then
I'm a big advocate. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. You have to get them fixed, but it is like a problem here. They are everywhere. And they just keep coming because there's some neighbors that we all think are doing that, not getting cats fixed, but it's like an issue. And, like they're everywhere. Like you'll wake up and there's like cat print
taking over the world.
You guys remember the movie? I think it was called Cats versus Dogs. Maybe. You guys remember that?
I remember it. I don't think I saw it, but I remember it.
The cartoon one or something.
No, it wasn't a cartoon. It was a live action movie. That's what made it worse. It was called Cat. Yeah, there's a few of them. They made more later, which I was like too old to have watched it. But yeah, it's Cats versus Dogs, like live action dogs and cats fighting each other.
Don't think I saw it.
The cats are literally. The concept is literally for the cats to take over the world. So like the cats are the bad guys, and the dogs are trying to stop them and want to be good with humans.
Sounds right.
Yeah. But one more thing. Did you ever see the cartoon movie Cats Don't Dance? Nobody ever knows the movie when I bring it up.
I don't think I've seen this. No.
I'll have to look it up. Like some of these kind of sound familiar, so I don't know if I've seen them in passing or like clips of things. I'm not.
Yeah, I always wonder maybe that could have been, but I don't think I've seen the
movie.
Maybe
I've seen clips. I don't know.
There was like this viral thing going on with like TikTok and Instagram where they were like bring up something that is vivid in your memory or whatever that other people don't know, and like somebody actually posted that, and I was like, yes, like nobody ever remembers this movie. Like I had the VHS tape and I watched it probably like 20 times, and it's
he's like the only one.
It was. Yeah, I was only. It's not like Disney, and it's not like a big studio, so it's like a weird thing. So, if you have not seen Cats Don't Dance, look it up. Bryce has definitely seen it. That's my brother. We for sure have watched it together. So, anywho,
yeah, they're talking about Taco Bell.
Oh, are they? Nice.
What are they saying about it? Are they saying good things?
I was saying that my cat's always hungry, and then Millennial Collector Ohio said, I feel that, always hungry and wanting food, and Bryce said, for sure, Taco Bell sounds good.
Yep, and I gotta admit something, alright, I'm gonna tell you guys something. I live in New Mexico, and there's a lot of good Mexican food and New Mexican food. And sometimes, despite how good the options are, I just crave the taste of Taco Bell.
Yes.
And I've gotten flack from people that are like, why would you do that when you live around like all of this other stuff? And it's like, because the flavor. I want that flavor, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't disagree with
Taco
you.
Bell, like, minutes away from me, so it's very dangerous.
I live in a small town. We had at one point, it's weird. I don't know what the deal is with this, but we get a lot of Mexican restaurants that come in and out, and like they don't last because we've got this one that like has been very stable for a long time, and it's like, everybody goes here, but they're always trying to implement these other Mexican restaurants. But we got 3 here currently, locally, and Taco Bell is just it's different, man. It's Taco Bell. It's not Mexican.
It's in its own way. Exactly.
It's not Mexican food. It's a fast
food.
It's
like an Americanized version of something.
Yeah. And it's delicious. Gotta admit.
It is delicious, even though I have issues right after. Run to that toilet.
That's impressive, and I don't know if it's because I eat a lot of hot food and I've either built up something or Taco Bell just misses me, but like I'm always good after Taco Bell. I don't know what it is, but you give me dairy, I'm done.
Yeah.
Give me a milkshake, minutes later.
I can't do any dairy anymore. I don't drink milk, and I have issues every time, so.
Yeah,
I'm off.
like
I've been off the dairy for like 5 years.
Yeah, rice milk. Let me
I
tell
can
you.
never go off of it, but it really does not agree with me.
Yeah, I regret it every time.
We're gonna talk about that later, there, gamer. Well, anyway, and other news. Do we have
Other
we got
news.
some other news, don't we?
Yes, so we
Funny
have
news.
a Nintendo leaker suggests that some of GameCube's best games could be making their way to the Nintendo Switch. According to leaker Zippo, 2 of these games are classic GameCube titles in the form of F-Zero GX and Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. This isn't the first time that HD remasters of Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door or F-Zero GX have been rumored, but Zippo believes that both will be released by the end of the year.
Whoa.
So,
let's hear your
you may never know.
So, Thousand Year Door is a great game, a great follow-up to Paper Mario, and F-Zero GX is in my top 5 games of all time, like unquestionably.
We need another.
We need yeah. I mean, that was the last console proper F-Zero. I think we had like Legend of Falcon and Climax that came out for the Game Boy Advance, and Climax being Japan only, and we keep getting like acknowledgments of F-Zero. And every single time it happens, Nintendo still plays coy. Falcon is still in Smash Brothers. He had a mini game in Nintendo Land. Like, there's always something, and just like they always just sort of look the other way. And it's just like, please, just do this. It will sell. People will like it.
I agree. Yeah.
So, here. What I do wonder. I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
No,
but I wonder if if you go to like your Switch online and you're playing like Super Nintendo or Nintendo 64, when you pop to somebody's profile, you can see that they're playing, that particular system, but it also mentions what game. I wonder if Nintendo can keep track of the metrics for how many people are playing F-Zero on those consoles. And maybe try to use that to say, is there genuine interest? If like they're trying to gather data to maybe say, oh, maybe we should do F-Zero because enough people are playing such and such.
Sure.
And I'm fingers are crossed. I don't know if they're doing that, but I wonder if that's something that plays into their research.
I feel like it has to, right? It's Nintendo. I mean, it has to. It has to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wondered that too. For a few reasons. It's weird that Super Mario RPG is still not on there, right? Because we got it on the SNES Mini. And so it felt like we were getting everything from there in the beginning, right? It felt like we got Earthbound, right? I would think we would get Super Mario RPG before that. And
Earthbound 0 for that matter.
Yeah, Earthbound 0 even. So I was like, I wonder. I think it has to. I think even the NES Mini and the SNES Mini were both like kind of, they had to incorporate that.
Do you think Square is holding back because they want to release it like on their own terms for like a $10 game or something rather than licensing it through Nintendo's online?
Potentially. I feel like we're pretty late in the life cycle of the Switch for them.
Yeah.
I that's definitely something I've thought about that. I could see them doing that, but would Nintendo do that with their service? I don't know that they would agree to that.
Yeah, it's hard to say. And Chrono Trigger, I can't believe that actually hasn't popped up yet either, because Chrono Cross is on there.
Right.
There's Chrono Trigger songs in theater rhythm, but like you're still dangling the carrot, I guess.
Yeah, that's a weird thing too. Do you like the DS remake of Chrono Trigger? Are you a fan?
I love it. As a matter of fact, I find it to be probably the most definitive, if only it were like on a bigger screen. Because I love, like the big screen spectacle, but all the extra stuff they added, I think, was really great quality of life improvements.
I agree with you. I kind of got crap about saying that on that podcast we were on, Super RPG Friends. I had said that.
Oh, they didn't.
Yeah, this is, and I forget what their reasonings were. And I know that people have that like opinion that they don't like the DS remake of it.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, I knew that was sort of a thing, but yeah, they all kind of crapped on me for saying that.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, you get the extra ending, you get all the benefits of the PlayStation version without all the loading times.
Those loading times on that are terrible.
They were pretty nasty.
Yeah.
You get like the map on the bottom screen, like it just felt like, and they even had like the extra, okay, I'll admit the extra like quest that they added wasn't like great. But also, it didn't do anything to take away from my experience because I just was like, never mind, I just won't do it,
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, it really is sort of like the definitive version. I don't know. I think it's great. The anime
think so, too.
cutscenes and the bestiary and all that good stuff.
I would be extremely happy if we even got like a port of that version. Like, sure, I mean, I'm good with whatever. Chrono Trigger is
Yeah.
a masterpiece.
Yes.
If I do wonder if we'll ever see that version on anything else, because it would be awesome to have that on the Switch or something else portable that
I'd
you
be
can
down.
dock or put on the TV or even like.
You never know.
Yeah, I wonder.
Yes, fingers are crossed.
A lot of those things like that, stuck on portable systems. I hate that, man. I love handhelds, and it doesn't bother me. Like, I can go back and play that on the DS, like, no problem for me. Like, I it's just more convenient these days. It's easier to have a handheld for me. That's why the Switch gets probably played more than anything. But yeah, I mean, just getting these, for other people to be able to experience is like, I'm all for that. Bring everything to everything is modern. Like, if you do it,
Port it all. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see like it's weird for people that are like, oh, I was gonna bring down the value of my game. Like, man, no.
Yeah,
Give
don't worry
access to
about
this game to other people. If this is all monetary to you, you're doing it all wrong.
Yeah, share the experience. It's cool. Yeah,
that's
and
what
that's the thing is
about. That ties back to the community, man. Let everybody enjoy everything.
Very much. Well, so something with owning a game store is, I've had people walk in and they go, "Hey, do you guys have Little Samson? I've heard it's really great, but it's like $800."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, are you a collector?" And like, "No, I just really want to play it." And I'll tell them, "I'll give you a ROM of this game because the people who are collecting it for $800 are collecting it for the sake of collection.
Yes.
If you simply want to play this game, I will find a way for you to play it for free since there's no other way to play it. You're not taking money away from Taito because it's literally inaccessible."
Yes.
And I very much want to share the experience with as many people as possible. Collectors want the tangible value. That's great.
Yes.
But I believe that the more access we have to all of these games, the better it is for everybody. Because it sucks to recommend a game so esoteric that nobody can buy it unless they emulate it or, shell out hundreds of dollars.
And all this money.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And if you're a collector, again, that's great to have it on the shelf, and it's very cool and it feels good. But those people are collecting for a reason that they are aware of and they do know.
Yeah. Yeah, like if you want to try out stadium events, like let me give you this ROM because you're gonna be pretty disappointed.
Yeah.
I heard it's like the best game ever.
It's the best game ever.
It's like all the PS2 sports games.
Yeah.
They're like top tier.
Her video game taste is like very questionable. I'm very much questioning her video game taste in this episode of the podcast.
You like what you like, and
I'm literally joking.
If the only game you play is Home Alone on the NES, I support that.
But the Game Boy version,
the Game Boy one's actually solid.
Yeah, that's the one I've never played. The NES one.
It's the only game I ever rented as a kid and begged my dad to take back the same night.
Yeah.
I always dealt with whatever I rented for the weekend, but that game it was you guys have a game that like you tried and you were just like, this is truly the most not for me experience.
Definitely 100%. I'm trying to think of what I liked these kind of games, but was SimCity on? I'm trying to think. It was on Super Nintendo. Maybe no, it was on the NES, right?
They had an NES version eventually, but they had it Super Nintendo first.
Okay, I want to say it was NES just because of the time period. I want to say it was the NES version, but at that point in time, as young as I was, like I was very disappointed in that game. Right. Like much later, that made sense, and like I got into those kind of games then. But like when I was like 6, probably 6, 7, I was like, "What is this? Like this is terrible."
Yeah. When you're a kid, you don't want to manage like building resources and finances for like taxes. That's not fun.
Dude, I'm trying to kill some goblins and run around and do some stuff. Like get out of here. I'm
allocate funds to the fire department.
I'm not trying to have a job. I'm 6 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's definitely others. I have to think. But.
Yeah, and I don't. This is not to mean that I'm crapping on these things because again, if somebody likes them, but I can definitely tell if something simply was not for me, and that's okay.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a lot of games.
I feel like as I got older, Because, like, I think I tried to find the best in things in my younger years, and I never wanted to, like, disappoint anyone. Like, if I picked up a game real
Yeah.
cheap, or if they bought me something, I feel like I
Sure.
played it and tried it as best as I could.
Yeah.
I think if I had to say one, though, from my childhood, I think it would have been Glover. On the N64, there was a part where the game was, like, broken, or I got stuck somewhere. But other than that, I think I just appreciated everything.
Okay, so you like pretty much all games.
Yeah, I try and find the best
if you
in
can.
everything.
Sure.
Look, I
Sure.
have championed. It's not a good game, obviously. Scorpion King for the GameCube. I played it like 7 or 8 times as a kid. Played through that. That's one of the most
That's
broken
impressive.
messes ever made. I mean, I went back and played that. I think it's been 3 or 4 years at this point, and I'm like, oh my god, like this game is like bad. Like movie games are bad, but like this game is bad.
Generally. So, but you know what's kind of cool about that? About games that are even messy or broken or just sort of like licensed things that they had to get out in a deadline, is that every game, no matter how, we'll say, crummy, has its own set of parameters that still make it fun if you play it into the right conditions. And, you know, so speed running can enhance the value of a game in that regard, because people still have to learn all of those nuances in order to get to the point where they're still trying to get from start to finish as fast as possible. And so there's like a merit in that to me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't speedrun games. I was playing Mega Man 9 for a while to try to speedrun just for myself. But yeah, even Home Alone is a weird exception because the game is literally 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
Like, you survive for 20 minutes and that's the end of the game. Like, it's not you can beat it in 15 minutes. It's you don't die for 20 and then you win.
Yeah.
But Scorpion King or some of the old Matrix games, a lot of like movie license stuff, it's neat that people still have to like dive into knowing the proper nuances and learning the parameters, crappy or not, because they still exist and you still have to play by those rules. And that's kind of cool to me.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I mean, like, even Scorpion King, I appreciated it as a kid, so I can appreciate now that, you know, I enjoyed it then. Like, these movie games, they had to have these games out before the movie came out. They had such a crazy deadline. And I totally understand and see that these days, you know. As an adult, I get it. Like, people have talked about it. People have talked about their stories of, you know, having like 8 weeks to make this entire like 3D, you know, I've seen it.
Yeah,
and
insane.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It's just, it's like not cool too at the same time, you know, the crunch on games that's still going on now, not cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we got some other news.
Oh, sure.
Yes. We got a look at the gameplay and the latest trailer for Star Trek Infinite, an upcoming grand strategy game coming to PC in fall of 2023. I didn't see it. It's not really something that I'm interested in, so I don't know if you guys would be interested or not.
I don't have a lot of investment in Star Trek, but I know a lot of people who I feel would be interested in that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like, I like Star Trek as a franchise, but gaming wise, not too much into it.
Sure.
And then we've seen this with upcoming games. They've said that, you know, they're really being held back by trying to incorporate some of the older systems. So Microsoft is no longer making Xbox One games. It's all about the Xbox Series S and X consoles for Microsoft's first-party Xbox games from now on. And we've always heard that, you know, every system that goes forward, they always say that, you know, you're limiting certain aspects of the game by trying to make it backwards, or not backwards compatible, but like for the older systems. So it makes sense that, you know, we're kind of at this stage.
I get it. Allocate resources appropriately.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I mean, I think that, you know, they are being held back, having to have a team make a version of the game that is. I mean, a lot of times, here's what I dislike. I'm okay with if they're making a game and they're making like a downgraded version of the game. That kind of sucks for those people. But often, what is happening is actually they're making an Xbox One game and they're just porting it over to the new system. So you're working
like
on
upscaling it, kind of.
Yeah, and they're working on old hardware. They're not working like I paid for this new system. You know, I really want to get games that are made for the system, not, you know, upscaled
Mhm.
and made better on the system.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at. Like they've done that for a while with the PS5, and like there's
Mhm.
really only been a few games that have been specifically made for the PS5, like Ratchet and Clank and a few other games, Gran Turismo. But yeah, I've always disliked that. I mean, it was different back in the day when they would make like an NES version of the game and then a Game Boy version of the game and the Super Nintendo.
Mhm.
That was different. They were entirely different games. Like
Yeah.
Mhm.
the NES version of the game didn't hold back the Super Nintendo game, but that's
Right.
not the case anymore. So for me, like I would love to see this game made on and for this hardware.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
if like you make a downgraded version of the game for people that are exclusively playing on the previous system, it kind of sort of sucks, but it still gives them access to the game. I just don't like the reverse way. So personally,
Yeah, it gets really tricky. And in defense of that sort of conceptually, despite the fact that like it's oftentimes sort of like the we'll say worst version of the game, I really like when the Switch gets ports of games that are better on other systems, and not because I want a worse experience, but because I love when, say, Mortal Kombat 1, the new reboot or
Yeah.
whatever is coming out, and they did this with Mortal Kombat 11. They have a separate team who works with the Prime team. Prime team is working on the Prime game. Great. Takes away nothing for this secondary team to do a Switch port. I love seeing a company, Saber Interactive or Panic Button or Virtuos or any of these guys, see what they can do with the hardware and still find a way to make it work on the Switch, provided that it doesn't take away from the main experience, which it
Yeah.
generally doesn't. I like seeing people cram high-tech experiences into worse hardware. I think it's so neat, and I think these
like it
companies,
too.
like Doom Eternal on the Switch,
That's
is a
crazy.
marvel. It's a masterpiece. It's so
Yeah.
incredible that they got that to work.
Yeah.
And it's, maybe the worst version, but I look at it and I just go, holy crap, like, it's like watching a demake, that shouldn't exist, but it does. I think I don't know. I like that. I think it's cool when people sort of like challenge themselves to do things like that.
I like
Mhm.
seeing
So,
hardware pushed to the limits. That's why I like,
also true.
some of these homebrew games,
Yeah.
like, right? Like, they're doing stuff
Mhm.
that the developers couldn't even do at the time. They figured
Oh,
out
yeah.
now for a system, and you're like, how is this? Like, I can't remember a specific game that I'm thinking of. It's a fighting game, but it's an Atari 2600 game. It looks like,
Mhm.
I swear to you, it looks like it could have been a crappy Super Nintendo game. Like
That's impressive.
yeah,
That's
like that is
really
very
cool.
impressive. Like it actually,
Interesting.
yeah, it's very very interesting. My buddy picked it up at Korg's last year, and I'm like, this is phenomenal. Like this is running on an Atari 2600. But yeah, I love
Wow.
seeing that stuff, and like it blows me away seeing what people can do with old hardware or
Totally.
underpowered hardware. Like
Yeah.
bring me the Jaguar CD games. I want to see what you can do with it.
Yeah. Well, there's a gaming channel on YouTube somewhere, and it's just like these people who just do tech demos on Genesis hardware, official original hardware, and they do these effects you would only ever have dreamed of.
Have you ever
Things
seen
that if you
Bad
saw,
Apple?
me, I don't know, maybe not. I don't know if I know that name.
So it's like this like it's like an anime opening thing, but they do it on like almost they try to make it on every single hardware. So like
Oh,
it
cool.
looks different on all hardware. I actually learned
Cool.
about it because they had it on the Jaguar CD because I got the Jaguar game drive. But then I learned about it and like it's like this anime opening, but it's really just this like tech demo thing that they port to every single hardware to see what it looks like on the hardware, and it like shows you, and like their whole goal is to see how good the hardware can look and like show you
Mhm.
in this little
Huh.
anime opening.
That's
It's
cool.
very, very
I'm into
cool.
that.
Yeah,
That's
very
neat.
interesting. Yeah, I learned about that just a few years ago. It's super super interesting. Check out
Hmm. Okay. Bad Apple.
Bad Apple. Yes.
Got it.
So in other
Okay.
news, we've got the Capcom event was on June
yeah.
12th, and then Capcom announced the Mega Man X Dive is getting a offline mode. So for people, and it's being brought to PC as well. So for people that want to play that and not have to be stuck online, this also brings into another point that I think they should do this with all online games like this and all mobile games like this, to make an offline version of the game that is going to stick around and exist. Because how many mobile and online only games have we lost that get shut down after 2 or 3 years. I think to keep the game around, or keeps a part of the game around, or at least all the work that got put into said game, like this is the way to go. They should be doing this.
Hey, that's a good way to put it. The hardest part is seeing that people put a lot of time into making something only for 3 years later.
Yeah.
They just say it's done, scrapped.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which has happened with a lot of Capcom games. Like there's a lot of Capcom like mobile things that get made. Like even Mega Man. Like there's been a lot of those Mega Man projects and stuff that have been like weird online things. Like there was like a Mega Man online game. I think it was like maybe a Korean exclusive game, like something odd or weird. Like these things get shut down, and like there's no preservation for these games, and the hours and hours and hours of hard work that get put into them, they're just lost.
Yep, it's gone.
Forever.
Yeah.
For the preservation's sake of these like mobile and online games, I feel like this is the way to go. Make an offline version.
I hope they can also end up porting this maybe to get PlayStation or Switch, because
I wish
the Final Fantasy Pixel remaster was computer and phone only.
Yes.
And Square said, "Oh well, we'll keep our eyes peeled based on sales," and it was like, you assholes.
Yeah,
these games are selling. These exist because they were on consoles for 30 years. Don't pretend that like you have to examine it now. Like they will sell.
Yeah,
and I'm sure they've been selling very well on the consoles.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it is very weird to me that they said that it's PC and Steam. Like that's bizarre. I'm not sure the reasoning on that. I hope that they do bring this to Switch, because it is actually a pretty cool game. I just struggle deeply, and I love Mega Man. It's my favorite series, but I still struggle deeply with the mobile experience as a whole, even with the grips and the controller attachments. I still just don't do well with it. I don't know what it is, but there's something about the whole experience for me that I just can't get into. I've tried so many times. Like
it's a neat novelty, and for like 5 minutes I'd be like, hey, this is cool. But for the long term, like my phone is so much more of a utility than it is a gaming device that I don't want to like bog it down with just doing that.
Exactly, and I need I need to have my phone charged for the day, and like I'm not, I can't always have it like attached to the wall or whatever. Like
that'll kill batteries.
Exactly, a utility, like you said it. That's exactly what I feel. It's hard to game on something that's like meant for that, and not like, or I'm like getting text messages as I'm trying to play the game, and like
right, exactly.
And
and then you get frustrated. Put it on Do Not Disturb mode. And I've been guilty of that when I'm posting shorts and stuff for socials, and then people keep spam, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what she's got it right. That's the same here. And then I'll forget to not put it on Do Not Disturb and get peed off that I'm trying to post it, or I'll accidentally click the alert and it takes me off of when
it takes you away, and you like lose all like the tags and stuff, and then
you lose the progress sometimes.
Yeah,
it happened. Lost like a long post of whatever I had like for Instagram so many times by accidentally clicking that. And there is nothing in the world that irritates me more than that. Like I'm like, no. Like I just had 3 paragraphs wrote out. You suck. But yeah, for sure.
Technology.
Yeah, you gotta love it. So we also got that Dragon's Dogma 2 will be released on PC, PS5, and Series X, which is awesome. I'm excited about
the first one was great. Yeah, I really enjoyed the first game quite a bit.
Did you play, was it Dark Arisen?
Dark Arisen? I think I picked it up on the Switch, and then I think I just never got around to playing it. Then I gave it to a friend who loved Dragon's Dogma.
It was good. It was good.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah,
I think it's great. I mean, only having like 2 entries in the series, being like the second mainline one, it's great. I'm excited.
I have to admit, I wish it did have like true multiplayer, because if that were the case, I'd probably still be playing it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you on that. Let me catch up a little bit here on the comments. We got, gosh, I might have to go back a bit, sure. We got Bryce saying, dude, why read that? Never mind. Escalated friend. Escalated friend saying, love your podcast, love having the female, it makes it more dynamic. Escalated friend also saying,
female.
Can you talk about the games you love the most? Maybe favorite series and stuff we never hear about recently.
Oh, like weird sort of like offbeat kind of games.
I'm not sure how they're talking about that.
Yeah, is that like older? Because I have that in the community. I added it last minute.
Oh, okay. Well, then
recently.
We'll talk about
So,
that here in a bit.
If they're still watching, like, is it for the retro stuff or like newer stuff? I guess we're kind of
Let us know.
curious. We'll go off of that.
For sure. Then we got Bryce saying terrible game, talking about Scorpion King.
Yeah.
Escalated friends, stop staring at me. Okay.
I think at one point we were all like this, like all of us.
Yeah. Okay.
Just making sure, yeah.
We got Lergitsis saying, hey everyone, hey, welcome to the podcast. Also saying sorry I'm late, was working. How is it all? Good. Appreciate you coming in.
Good now.
My Twitch handle is pronounced Say Six Says for the record. I realize
Say 666. Yeah, it's basically 666 in 3 languages.
Oh, very cool. I'm down with that.
I was wondering. Okay.
Alright, that's cool. Carl saying,
And
howdy y'all. Welcome, Carl. 666 saying, I am a connoisseur of weird games of history. I agree.
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
Totally.
I'm all down with that. I mean, I've got an encyclopedia on the CDI and 3DO, so.
Oh, good. Right here, I actually have Doom 2 on the Zodiac Tap Wave.
That's very cool.
It's a
Very,
weird
very
one.
cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a system I've been
Very cool.
after for a minute. That's expensive one right now.
Yeah.
Very expensive. That's cool. That system is actually a really good system too. Like it runs games pretty well. The
For
stuff
what
I've
it's
got-
worth.
Yeah, for what it's worth, it was a
Mhm.
interesting system. But yeah, so we've got also Exoprimal. The game will be available on July 14th on PC, PS4, PS5, and Series X. Also available on Game Pass subscription service day 1.
I like
Yeah.
Game Pass for that reason.
I do
Is
too.
I'm so curious about a lot of stuff, but I don't know if I want to invest in getting
You want
to
to pay
sample
$60
it.
or $70? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great way to do it.
Yeah, because I usually end up buying said game later. You know, like if I have
Yeah.
access to that the day it comes out, like I think
Mhm.
it's the best value in gaming right now. Like hands.
It's terrific. I would love for Nintendo to follow. I know they won't, but I would love for Nintendo to follow suit when it comes to, like, I mean, Switch Online is kind of, but like if they had like a much bigger catalog and could stream games to that degree, I'd love that. You know,
agree.
I would pay a lot of money to have that kind of Nintendo catalog available.
Or just give me back like the eShop or like the Wii Shop channel sort of deal. Like that was
Yeah.
so good. Like even the
Yeah.
3DS, man. Like give me the option
Yeah, it's great.
to buy the games.
I will buy these games, for a ridiculous
over and over
price.
and over. Like
Over and
we
over,
probably
yeah.
bought these games multiple times. I know I did.
Yep. Look,
the Wii,
I don't mind being a sucker. I'll do it.
Yeah, the Wii Shop, man. It was so good. It was so good.
Mhm.
Even the 3DS, the Wii Shop was awesome. Wii U is good too. I mean, you had if you're a Zelda fan, like that is the place to play Zelda, right?
Mhm.
There is so much Zelda on there, but man, just give us that option. It's just not the same.
Yeah. I'd love to buy it all.
For sure. So we've also got Spider-Man pre-orders are out. They're starting to be scalped already. They sold out.
Always a bummer.
Everything.
Yeah, they sold out
Yeah.
pretty quick. They were maybe up for like a half an hour or something like that. But yeah, they're already being scalped. To be expected and unfortunate.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
I will say that because I was with somebody ordering the item while they were doing it. I do like the system they're using now. They put you in like a really good actual queue on their website, and you are limited to one. So it is actual. It seems to be actual people just buying and scalping. Like you're putting like a real queue.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's ways to get around that, but I do like the way they're doing that. Just sucks.
Yeah.
It's
Mitigate it
scalped.
as best they can.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we talked about this earlier. Hideo Kojima wants to make a game where you can play it in space, and that's literally all he said. So
Are we all gonna try that out day one?
I would.
Oh, does he mean outer space? Because technically we're in space. But okay.
Yeah, that was the context. Yeah.
So
Wonder
like,
how much that would cost.
yeah, like ride a SpaceX shuttle and then you can like play it with no gravity?
I think we're looking into it too much.
Okay, maybe.
I think even outer space, just like a.
Okay, so not you, the
Starfield.
player, physically being in space. You're talking about like sending your character to outer space and
Yeah.
exploring.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
the context. Yeah, in outer
Okay, I
space.
wasn't sure.
There were like no other details given on what
Because
I read on
Kojima does that
He does.
nonsense.
Yes, he
well,
does, yeah. He's that
Okay.
type of guy. I would not.
Well,
put it
so I
past
mean,
him.
with Boktai, keeping track of like solar light coming through to your Game Boy, what if the higher your altitude, like it would impact your experience playing this game? Maybe like if you enter the stratosphere, like you'd get certain perks or bonuses. I don't know.
Doing something crazy like that.
That's the thing. Or you have to launch like something into the air, and depending how high it went, when it comes back down, it
You
registers
get like a
like
little missile for your Switch. You like
Yeah, something
insert the
like that,
card or
yeah.
something crazy.
launch a rocket, with a weight on it.
What could Kojima do in space? Oh god, I don't know.
I don't know.
It's an interesting one. Yeah, I'd like to see what he's got in mind. Like he's got
Metal
one of
Gear
those-
Galaxy.
Oh god, yeah, maybe. What was that terrible
I'll take
Metal Gear game that came out? Like it was the one that came out after he left. It was like a zombie.
Survivor, something like that.
It was so bad.
For what it's worth, I didn't hate it, but I also like it. Just was Metal Gear the name without feeling
Yeah.
like it needed to be Metal
but
Gear.
I like it.
Yeah, terrible.
So
Yeah.
it goes. Yeah.
So it looks like for our last news topic, we got Whoopi Goldberg upset that Diablo 4 is not compatible with Mac. Good old
Yeah.
Sisters Act.
I'm sure Blizzard will address that in time, but it might not be a priority.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Whoopi
Or
seems
she's
to
gonna
be
have to
pretty
buy a
mad
Steam
that it's
Deck.
not a priority. So
Yeah, wouldn't you be?
yeah, I guess I don't have a Mac, but I would probably not be happy. I would say just buy a console.
At that point, it's probably just easier. Get an Xbox or something, PlayStation.
If you're like a big enough fan. I mean, I bought systems just to play one game before, so
I've been there.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a PSP that like I said, I bought that just to play Mega Man. Then
For
I
Mega
played
Man,
other
yeah.
stuff, but yeah, I mean, buy a
Sure.
console. She's Whoopi. She can afford it. Just buy a console, Whoopi.
Whoopi could probably afford a PlayStation 5.
It's the
Diablo.
principle.
It's the
She could also
principle.
probably call somebody up at Blizzard and be like, "Hey, send this to me," and they just would,
Probably.
I mean, she is on the View, so she's got that View money. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So.
That's right.
All right, you want to go ahead and go to community questions there for our last segment?
Yes.
of the podcast?
We'll try and go through some of these pretty quick.
Yeah.
So we have community questions. We post something every week. We have a surprise at the end of the show, which we will be asking for more community questions. We're going to need extra this week.
Yes.
So we have Anthony Beckman, who's saying, what could or should be my baby's first future game, or future first game? So they have retro consoles, so nothing is off limits. So I guess they're like planning out for the future, and they want to know what is like the ideal game that their like future kid should play. I'd have to say Mario, because that's probably like my first game that I remember. So I would have to on the Nintendo Entertainment System. I feel like start from the beginning, right? Or at
Sure.
least my beginning.
Yeah, that's a safe bet, because if you also start a baby off like learning the classic video games, then eventually, hopefully, they get to see the progression and how technology and experiences have advanced.
Yes.
Mario's a good choice.
I got a kind of a wild one, because
Okay.
I think most people wouldn't say this. But just thinking on the simplicity, and hear me out. I think just
Okay.
on the simplicity, Pong is not a bad option, right? Because it was
Okay.
literally one of my first. I think on
Yeah,
the simplicity, it might be. Yeah, I mean, you got up and
just
down movement, and that's it.
learning that it's an interactive television
Yeah.
screen, basically.
Yeah, I mean, 2600 was my first, and that was one of my first 4 games I had. But I feel like that's a safe
Okay.
bet,
So
too.
like the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
when you said you had a wild idea, I was thinking you were going to say Wild Woody on the Sega CD.
I mean, hey, that's also, if you want to
Yeah.
start there, that's
Yeah,
interesting
teach your
point.
kid that's where it started, and then see what their tastes branch out to. What insane
Yeah, I mean,
interests they have.
yeah. I feel like if you're starting like real early, which is what they made it sound like, baby's first feature
Sure.
game, that seems like, there's a book. So there's this guy, I don't know his Twitter handle. I wish I did. And I know he has watched the podcast, actually. There's this book that he made, and it's called Computer Engineering for Babies. And it's literally this interactive book where like these lights light up and it shows like the cables and all this stuff going on. And I feel like, that could be like a safe option with Pong. I don't know. That's a hard one to say for me.
Then
Pong's
we
a good
have
choice.
oh, sorry.
No. You're good.
We have Joshua Ryan McCarthy saying, "What's it like being a content creator and a parent?" Well, I'm out. I don't know. Maybe a cat parent.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's hard sometimes.
Yeah, how's that balance? I mean, when you're
it's
wanting to play games, living life, taking care of a kid, and making content.
Yeah, that's why I said like streaming is the only time I get to play games right now.
Sure.
It's a balance. It's you just make it work. Just do what you do. I mean,
Fair.
Obviously parenting comes first, but it's like trying to make everything work together and taking advantage of time and yeah. I don't know how else to say it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
666 said being a parent and doing literally anything is difficult. That's what I really wanted to say, right? Like life is difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got 2 great kids, and he comes to my shop all the time with them, and they're great. But also, I can imagine that that happening every single day would be an awful lot to deal with.
Yeah.
But his kids are great. I do gotta say that they're wonderful children.
He also said before that, I put my babies in deprivation chambers, only being able to play Home Alone for NES, so that every other experience in life upon their release is fully appreciated.
It's good, yeah, exactly.
Than Home Alone on NES.
Set the lowest standard possible.
Balance, one extreme to the next.
One of the best comments we've ever gotten. That's awesome. I love it.
By basis of comparison, all things are good.
Yeah, exactly.
Poor children.
Carl said right before that, I bought an N64 for Blast Cores. So, yeah, I mean that's a thing. Game systems for one games, it's like that's a big investment when there's only one game that you're interested in.
And you hope more kind of stick out, I guess.
Yeah, but then you learn about others along the way usually. So, yeah.
And then we have a question by this guy named Brandon. I don't know if you know him. I have a question, peeps. What is your favorite part about modern gaming without saying anything negative? I guess I'd say the advancements in graphics and technology and less loading times, and there's there's a lot of positives. There's some negatives, but there's ton. We never thought that we'd be here, and the stuff's better than it ever could have ever been imagined back in the day. So.
Yeah, it's neat to have no limit to the technology, because in my old man mind, I look at a video game that anything that's better than the Nintendo 64 is impressive to me, because when a game has lots of dialogue or lots of cutscenes or high resolution textures or tons of polygons, I just keep thinking, how do they do that? But a cartridge or a CD at the time had literal physical limitations, whereas nowadays you can install the hard drive, you can patch, you can have virtually infinite resource, available. So whenever I see that, it's cool to think that the only limit is maybe time or budget for development, and you can get experiences beyond your wildest dreams, and they're not constrained to memory.
Yeah. Yeah, the reason I asked this question is because as collectors and as retro game enthusiasts, I feel like all we hear is negative about modern gaming from a lot of these people. So yeah, I just wanted to hear everybody's kind of positive stuff to say without mentioning not completely physical or the DLC or all the stuff that gets mentioned all the time, microtransactions, because that's not the case with every game. It's not the case. And to me, the positives with modern gaming outweigh the negatives by like crap ton. I mean, like you both just mentioned a ton of positive things, and I feel like that negative list would be much smaller. I feel like there's an appreciation for all of it. That's kind of my point on it myself.
Yep.
It's cool to think that if somebody has an idea, the technology exists to turn that idea into a game.
Yes.
Mhm.
And anybody could theoretically make anything, and it's
Be it
Sky's
so
the
an
neat.
8-bit or with modern aesthetics and like an actual
Totally.
modern game.
Yep.
Like that ability is now there. Like who
Yeah.
thought who would have thought in 1990 we'd have something called NES Maker or any of this stuff to be able to just create your own game and you can just be a normal person and make anything. So
Yeah.
the ability is there, the technology is there, and it's always improving. So
Something I'm appreciating right now that Nintendo's doing is some of my favorite experiences from the past like 7 or 8 years is that Nintendo's giving players the tools to like create their experiences, because Mario Maker, look, I think that game is absolutely brilliant and has done some of the greatest things for like gaming. And Tears of the Kingdom is kind of the same thing, where it's taking a formula that they've already upended and then saying, but you also get to create the experience so custom tailored to your own gameplay style and creativity. And I like this. I'm into the idea of Nintendo giving people, because the only thing greater than somebody creating something is giving you the ability to create too. You know?
Yep.
And not being confined to what is already there, but to say like, people are doing things I've never even thought of in Tears of the Kingdom, and I love every second of it. We're only over a month out. A year down the road, what will happen in this game?
Yeah.
Has it already been over a month? It's crazy. It's
already been. I know.
Wow.
Blows my mind.
Yep, been a while.
How little time I have into it. It seems like I feel like I played a ton of time, but I actually like realistically haven't. But it's crazy because like Nintendo is very, they're pretty stuck up sort of company, like very confined with their properties, and the fact that like Mario Maker even came out, or like I was very surprised when it came out on Wii U. What's that NES game called where it's like a bunch of mini games with the NES?
Oh, the NES Remix.
Yes, NES Remix. That kind of surprised me because like they're very weird about changing anything about their games. So the fact that like we have the ability to do this in Tears of the Kingdom, in a Zelda game, in a mainline Zelda game, like it's pretty surprising. It's awesome.
And it's surprisingly glitch-free. I'm not saying the game is glitchless, but the amount of breaking that this game wants you to do and how well it still functions in spite of that is pretty impressive.
It is. It's also impressive that we keep getting like a new duplication trick like every 3 days.
I think what blows my mind about that the most is that to discover that, you literally just have to do mundane things until it happens to work.
I can't even imagine. That sounds like the most boring thing in the entire world.
It's pretty impressive.
It is impressive. It's awesome. This game is like, I think it is a massive just game changer for Nintendo. I mean, I feel like it's going to change a lot of things. I'm so excited to see what this next system does. Like, I just can't wait. So I think it's awesome.
Yeah. I can't wait for Metroid Prime 4 and Samus glues a bunch of Metroids to particle board and then launches them into a pit.
Please. Please. Do it. I'm glad they scrapped Metroid Prime 4 and restarted them. Something like that, I'll be ecstatic.
This is what they're working on.
Yeah, do it. I want it.
Perfect.
So I think we got one more question. We've got Xtrackens3 said, where and what makes and defines the importance of what you decide to do for your video stuff or content creation on? How do you pick subjects? And it looks like it maybe have also said, what do you do to be different from the crowd? So I guess sort of asking how you pick what you're doing the videos on.
Just like whatever you're passionate about. If you want to, focus on retro stuff, newer stuff, toys, a mix of different things. You just do things that you enjoy. You try and think of different ideas, especially we do this channel together, so we're always bouncing ideas off of one another, what things we like, what things we want to try. And then, if you have a channel by yourself, like when I do stuff on my channel, I just do stuff that I like. If I want to talk about something, I don't have to bounce it around to anyone. I just make the video and then hope that it does well. And eventually you start to feel more comfortable. And like, as we're all, doing this and we're all here, it's like, this might be the first time that we're actually meeting, like, for this podcast. And then it's like, you just kind of chit chat. You realize that you're pretty similar in a lot of different ways.
Mhm.
Or a lot of the same ways, not different ways. And and you do crazy things like this where you don't even know what's going on, and you just hope that you're a little bit different than everyone in a different way, not the same way.
Yeah,
So
in a different way.
So you just hope for the best, and then eventually, you get a little bit more comfortable with people. You reach out, and I guess that's kind of how it works. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like kind of to be different is to kind of be yourself, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
you want to be different, like be yourself, because there's a lot of people that aren't being themselves, and I feel like that's the crowd is like trying to be part of the crowd, and that's where.
Well, one of the most important things that I've heard is from David Bowie himself. Do not play to the crowd. Don't play to the audience. Like, do what it is that you would do, and you will attract the people that are interested in that.
Yeah.
And it is the most authentic form of just creativity, is to say, I've got an idea, I want to do it. And it doesn't matter if it's for anybody else, because the right people will see it and be like, I appreciate it.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree with that. I think he was an absolute genius, too, by the way. That was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think just, kind of be yourself, and exactly like you said, don't play to the crowd. That's what you got to do. Too many people playing to the crowd. So, we got anything else?
Just a couple quick things, and then we'll, I guess, let you tell everyone where that they can find you. But real quick, we are going to be at Too Many Games this upcoming weekend. So we'll be back for the podcast. We also are having a surprise podcast, most likely, I believe, on Wednesday. So we're going to start advertising for that. So those community questions, we're going to do a couple different posts. So we'll just pick some for one of the podcasts, pick some for the other one, but we'll have a couple different ones throughout the week. So Wednesday and Sunday, 2 podcasts next week. That could be something in the future. So please bear with us on that. And then Too Many Games video game convention in Pennsylvania. It is, I believe, near like Philly, so Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So it's not extremely far, at least for me. For you guys, it's a little bit different. So Brandon and Thomas will be coming out. We'll have plenty of content coming your way. He's in here too, saying Too Many Games. So we have tons of stuff coming up. We're all excited about that convention, and it'll be, a blast. And then, yes, also, we had mentioned about looking for sponsors. So if anyone else is watching, we do have a whole partnership deal and everything else coming your way. So if anyone wants to reach out for that, don't forget about that. Content creators, businesses, anything and everything. So we're just looking to help everyone out, and, just kind of go from there.
Oh, I'll just shout this out to you. This is a totally random message. Pascal Romero, he said, my buddy John brought me to your podcast. Really fun show. I enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Oh, nice.
I love those.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah, that's awesome. We love that. The positivity. That's awesome. Thank you so much. And then, just kind of to add to that, we are, I think, immediately after this, posting our first promo. I gotta get it made up or whatever. We gotta figure that out. But we're having a Scott Squatch on Wednesday. So it's our first week to have 2 guests in 1 week. So this is going to be very interesting. And this might be happening, I think, more in the future. And we got a lot of plans. So so we'll be having that going on. And then, like she said, any content creators, businesses, game developers, anything. If you're looking for sponsorships, you're wanting to sponsor the podcast or Game Junction as a whole, let us know for sure. So, John, where can everybody find you?
Oh gosh, so I I feel like I have a link tree that actually might tell you everything.
Oh,
I think it's Linktree / birdgas, birdgas, named
Okay.
after a
I'll
kitten
double check
that I
right
had.
now.
Actually, double check that real quick. Yeah,
I'll
I
make
think
sure.
that. Okay, good. I just created this like a couple weeks ago, and it has links to my shops pages. It has links to my personal. I have a collection page on Instagram called GA Retro Life.
Yeah.
I've got a couple Etsy stores where I make ridiculous clothing. One for my store, and one that's just like ridiculous, stupid stuff.
Nice.
Goes to, I think,
it
to my
looks like
YouTube.
that's all compiled on your link tree. So.
Oh, good. Okay, so everything should be there.
In the comments now.
Perfect. That sounds great. And you can see all my stupid stuff. My collection page is fun. My stupid Aug Babaunwa, I think, is the Etsy store that has my garbage on it. And then my personal Instagram, I believe, is birdgas. Birdgas64? I can't remember.
I think it's just birdgas. I think.
Might just be birdgas. I don't
be
know.
wrong. Yeah, but it's on there. We have it
it's on there. Okay.
We dropped that in the comments for you.
Perfect. Yeah. So if you want to follow, hey, great. And if not, I totally understand.
Absolutely. Nice. Well, we definitely appreciate having you on, man. This is an awesome episode, and
that was great. Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, we'll have to have you on again if you want to come on again sometime.
I'd love to. I just like talking about video games all the time.
And
cats. And cats. I know maybe I'll show my cat next time. I usually don't let them in here because they really like jumping all over my stuff.
Yeah. Same.
And so I have to be super careful about that. But I mean, I want to show you guys like junk. Yeah, see this right here?
We love junk.
See, here's junk. This is a little system, and it's got a screen and it's got buttons. And when it's powered, it has like a little LED flashlight. But the thing is, you pop it open and it has solar panels, so you can charge it in the sun.
No,
and it's
what
like
is
it's like
what is that?
This is something that I ordered from probably China back in like 2010, and I think it just plays NES ROMs off of like an SD card, and like at a worse frame rate than the NES does. So like it's not a great system, but it's a great novelty, and I am into novelty junk. So I've got so much to share, and that's on my other page. But I'd love to go even further with you guys talking about some of the craziest crap that I found. I'm going to show you guys actually one thing real quick, because I've never seen anything like this, and it took me forever to research it. Okay. This is a cartridge for the Game Boy called Reardon Steel. And this was sent out as an invitation to a party on a Game Boy cartridge. It's not a game, it's just an invitation. And somebody traded in a Game Boy with this in it, and I was like, I have to take that.
Yeah, see what I mean by I swear every single day in this community I learn something.
There's always crazy crap
what's
happening.
That called? What's the
Reardon Steel?
So what's on the cart? It's literally just
it's literally just an invitation to a party. I think this person who made this like sent a bunch of these out to people. They pop it in their Game Boy. It tells you like the date, time, and address, and that's it.
That's amazing. I love that. Do we know like
weird.
Maybe approximate year? Like is it like a newer thing?
Oh god, I don't remember. I'd have to check. It was probably early 2000s.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't remember.
So it would have been like
but
time period like accurate for the Game Boy, probably.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe like 2002-ish. I want to say it was pretty early on.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
I don't remember offhand. I researched it at the time, but I actually forgot about it till I was cleaning up some stuff recently and thought I should show you.
You are like the fourth person to ask, like, to come back on and do like a sort of like talk about and show off, like a show and tell sort of deal.
Yeah, we've had a bunch of people.
We're thinking about like doing a whole thing for that, like maybe even if it's pre-recorded or like we've been like talking because like people keep asking like, hey, let's like have an episode where like just share stuff and like talk about it.
Sure. Yeah.
That would be entertaining.
I love so much weird crap. Yeah. So yeah, I would love to. I'd love to. I love the esoteric content.
Just share, I'm sure. So that
everyone's saying John has all the cool, weird stuff, and then Millennial Collectors say he's in the perfect place. Then we love weird stuff, so everyone's saying, we want to see that.
Totally. I'll dig it up and sort through it. There was one thing I couldn't find. I have a YouTube video of this. It's something that I found for the Game Boy Advance in Japan, and it's basically for the SP rather. And you plug it in, and it pops out a little crank, and you kinetically charge your Game Boy.
Whoa!
I bought it for like $2. No, it's insane. It's just one of those stupid off things that like some cheapy company made, and I found it, and I was like, I need this. And I don't remember where I
Wow.
put it. It's here somewhere, but I'd love to show that to you guys too, because
The cat
again,
stole it.
I'm still trying to find
probably.
the Game Boy Color sonar fishing pole thing.
I would love
Like
to see one of those. I
yeah.
haven't come across that yet.
I haven't found one yet either, but I want to get it. I'll
Yeah.
try it out too. I'll go out and use it.
Absolutely. You'll make sure
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah. Even if I have to put it in a goldfish bowl, I'll still do it.
Perfect. But yeah, I'd love to be on again. I'd love to talk with you guys again. I'd love to share stuff and see your stuff too, because I love seeing all of the cool stuff that you guys always share. So thank you for being part of this community.
Yeah.
Well, thank
so
you.
much.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate everybody hanging out with us tonight and talking
Yeah,
with
thanks,
us in the
guys.
chat. And we'll be back again on Wednesday, like we said this week, and Sunday. So we'll see you guys in just a couple of days. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys later.